Their speedway, they're lean, they're mean, they're 5 to 7 horses, a man and machine. They're 4 wide before they start to slip and slide. The Coast2Coast Racing League 350A Modifieds, Pro Late Models, and the 360 Sprint Cars.
We are live on the Coast2Coast Racing Network with a little flatline racing buddies, hometown heroes. We're at the Lernerville Speedway this week. First up, as always, the A&J Custom Creations 305 sprint cars, and Randy Shreves right now at the top of the charts. The Librarian Pat Boys P2, Mr. Wednesday Night 3rd, Blake Chapman 4th, and the Brewerton Beast Jeff Marker rounding out the top 5. We do have Joseph Grandy and Mason Hine also registered in the race session. Not sure if they're gonna be racing, as they haven't put a lap in yet, but drivers are here and registered to go. As hey, checkered flag waves on warm-ups, not messing around tonight, rolling right at 7 on the dot. So make sure you hit that share button, man. You let everybody know what you're watching, because it's almost racing time here. Before a long blink of an eye, we're going to be rolling. Should have 2 features tonight. Let's see how the features, or the heat races, or 2 heat races, not 2 features, excuse me. 2 heat races here tonight. Let's see how they're going to be gridded up. Joseph Grandy taking the 518 here as he gets the green flag lap number 1. Remember, you pull out of the pits there on the top of turn 4. So you're basically getting a full, like a real mega full warm-up lap here. So Grandy now, first lap comes in 13.69. Brian Moore Sr. P2, but Randy Shreves in the 56. He's at the top of the charts. Blake Chapman, purple, sector 2. Lap didn't count yet, though, so that was a warm-up lap there for the salesman. Excuse me as I have a hiccup. Blake Chapman coming around. What's the time look like? Slower through sector 2 for Blake Chapman, but it's still quick enough to be on the top of the charts this time by purple sector 1, slower sector 2. Did he get in the wall? The answer is no, and it's quick enough. 13.53, Blake Chapman at the top of the charts. And oh, the Jeter machine. The Judy special up off the racing surface there out of 2 as he spins one more time. Terry, gonna have to find it. Maybe get some more time here when we come out in the heat races, because it should be, we invert the top 4. So it's looking like Bob DeGood and Pat Boyce gonna be in those invert spots. Blake Chapman with your quick time. He won't even start the heat race tonight, spoiler alert. He'll show up on the grid, but Blake Chapman been challenging himself to start in the rear of the features, and it's worked out pretty well for the kid. So he only won one this season. I believe it was actually last week. But Blake has finished in the top 5, almost a podium every single race. So Blake's been stringing it together. That's why he's the point leader coming into tonight. Take a look here. Row 3 to the outside, the 89 of Mason Hine. To the inside, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Row 2 to the outside, the 20 of the Salesman, Blake Chapman. To the inside, the 56 of Randy Shreves. Row 1 for heat race number 1. Winner starts on the pole. To the outside, the mare, Steve Bixler. And starting on the pole, the 41 of the Librarian, Pat Boyce. We should get that extra lap now anyways. Oh no, pace truck off, only one lap here. We're underway. Sorry, resetting the overlay, but the green flag in the air. Pat Boyce with a good jump, but the mare to the outside, he's got the early lead. And Randy Shreves trying to sneak into the middle there. Whoa, Mason Hine got that 89 rolling the top shelf. He gets a little contact there from the 56. He's in the middle, 3 wide. Randy's got to lift out of the throttle. Mason Hine driving his butt off here. Got the thing up to P3, trying to work on the 41. Meanwhile, we change it back to the gap. Steve Bixler a little bit over half a second as we come to the cross flags. Halfway for the mare. Steve Bixler smooth and steady. Pat Boyce trying to reel him in, but he just doesn't have any time. Coming to 2 to go. He's starting to feel some pressure from that 89. Got Shaggy TV on the top of the wing there tonight. Looking good there, Mason, as we roll through 3 and 4. They're both reeling in the mare. White flag in the air. We're almost out of time. Steve Bixler trying to hold on here. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be smooth. Final time through 3 and 4. He does just that. He takes the checkered flag. He wins heat race number 1, followed by Pat Boyce, Mason Hine, Randy Shreves, Terry Landis. And surprise, surprise, Blake Chapman taking the rear, just like I said he would. Going to start from the back tonight here when we go feature racing. Let's take a look at the starting grid heat race number 2. Rounding out the field, the 513 of the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. Row 2 to the outside, the 518 of 100 grand, Joseph Grandy. To the inside, the 79 of Dino, Dean Reynolds. Row number 1 for heat race number 2. Winner starts on the outside of the front row to the high side. The 055 of Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. and starting on the pole. I just noticed I yelled a little bit too loud, but you probably heard there starting on the pole, Bob DeGood. I'll be a little quiet there that time. Hopefully you got to hear me say Brian Moore Sr. I don't exactly know the cutout time. All I hear is ding, ding, and then, it takes about 3 seconds for it to register again. My apologies. I'm sure my neighbors don't like me getting that loud either. I mean, we got some distance between the houses, but still. As we roll through 3 and 4 for the final time, you see the green flag's high. It's ready to fly. Heat race number 2 is underway. We've got 6 to play. Good jump there for Dean Reynolds on the bottom, making it 3 wide right away. Can he slide up? The answer is no, because Joseph Grandy shot out of a cannon on the high side. 4th to 2nd in the opening lap, $100 grand, looking for one more. Brian Moore Sr., can he hold on here? Not going to be an easy task. Joseph Grandy, one of the quicker guys we have running in Coast to Coast, but Brian Moore Sr., he's been good lately. We call him Mr. Wednesday Night for a reason, and he is fast anytime he gets behind the wheel of a sprint car. As he rolls the top through 3 and 4, come to the cross flags. Halfway home, Bob DeGood feeling a little pressure from his teammate here in the 513, the Brewerton Beast. Jeff knows, though, they're both going to make the feature here tonight. We're just experimenting, trying different lines as leaders starting to run out of time. 2 laps left to play. Joseph Grandy, as close as he's been here, he's got it to the quarter-second mark. If he could get around 2/10 here, come to the line, he may be able to throw a slide job. Not close enough. In fact, Brian Moore Sr. absolutely nails his marks. Pulls away, if anything, and as we roll into turn 3 for the final time here, I clicked the wrong camera. Checkered flag wave. Dean Reynolds steals P2 from Joseph Grandy at the line. Brian Moore Sr. picks up the victory. Bob DeGood 4th. And Jeff Barker, P5. My, oh my. What an ending there to heat race number 2. Grandy throws it low. Can't complete the slide job, so he keeps it in the center of the racetrack. Maybe loses the rear end a little bit. And Dean absolutely capitalized here. And, well, if you don't mind, I'm going to look at some of the chat messages here during this. We're just going to stick around here. We'll run the commercial break next time. Still haven't ever gotten yelled at for it. I'll keep pressing my luck. I'd like to look at some camera volumes. Maybe some of you guys complain to me in my stream if certain things are quiet, because I've noticed maybe some volumes are a little lower than normal, but I'm trying to equal everything out. I had a computer update, of course. To be honest, I was playing PlayStation pretty much all night, and then get on, turn on my computer at 5:45, get an update. It seems like things always change. So if you're having trouble hearing anything or need something adjusted, let me know here. Complain to me in the chat box. What's going on, Anthony? See the Ant-Man's out there watching tonight. But yeah, we'll stick around here. We'll watch some different cameras, see what's going on here. Oh! Man, somebody might want to... I don't know who that was, if that was Pat Boyce. Man. Guys are getting crazy out here. Oh, what's up, Megan? What's up, Mike? I just pulled up the Coast to Coast side. of the chat there. What's going on? Let's go for a ride around the racetrack here with Blake Chapman if we can find it. And he is so close. That is unbelievable. Do I have a right rear suspension? All right, kind of hanging off. Okay, this is how close Blake is. It's really unbelievable. I mean, you're not... Here he's giving himself a lot, but 1 and 2, I mean, he was maybe 8 inches away from it on the exit. Now he's getting a little conservative. There, see? I mean, he rides up. You can see how close that is. Not a lot of forgiveness. And you got to be good to be willing to go that high. And, man, there's levels to this. And Blake's one of the higher up-leveled guys here as we get ready to go feature racing. As soon as it's available, we'll bring up your starting lineup. And it's available. Rounding out the field like he likes to do, the salesman in the 20, Blake Chapman. Row 5 to the high side, the 513 to the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker to the inside, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Row 4 to the outside, the 7 of Bob DeGood to the inside, the 56 of Randy Shreves. Row 3 to the top shelf, the 518 of 100 grand, Joseph Grandy to the inside, the 89 of Mason Hyde. Row 2 to the outside, the 79 of Dean Reynolds to the inside, the 41 of the librarian, Pat Boyce. Row 1 for your A&J Custom Creations 305 Sprint Car feature to the high side, the 055 of Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. and starting on the pole, the 75, the Mayor, Steve Bixler. You know, it's crazy. You know, I mean, it's no surprise. I've got a Steve Bixler autograph, okay? I've worn the shirt a couple times. Give me a signed T-shirt. I'm a huge Bixler fan. I don't know how my mic didn't just cut out right there. You know, I get amped up for Bixler. I try not to let the favoritism show, but it's tough when the Mayor gets on the front row. As we get ready to play 25 laps at the Lernerville Speedway, we're underway. Oh, you know, trying to make it 3 wide, a little contact there as maybe the Mayor floated up as Dean tries to make it fit. Joseph Grandy up and over, down towards the woods here. No caution flag. Jeff Barker off pace. And meanwhile, Brian Moore Sr. trying to pace the field. Here's we're 3 wide behind. Blake Chapman trying to pop some popcorn on the way to the front here. Blake started 11th. He got 2 free ones with the caution, but he's had to take his time. Not easy to work around. Now Terry Landis trying to follow suit. Blake Chapman right up against the outside. Here is Dean Reynolds trying to reel in the 055. Dean has got some speed here, but right now he just doesn't have the pace to reel him in. He's going to need a long green flag run as Randy Shreves going to the outside here. He works around the librarian. Randy trying to take another bite off the apple here, trying to look low under the 75. But the Mary's got too much momentum. Now they both float on that top shelf. And it seems like everywhere, all throughout the racetrack, you want to be up high. These are the first 2, excuse me, as we see Blake fall. No caution flag as of yet. Green flag still waves. Pat gets to the infield. We're not going to see a caution flag. And there's 17 laps to go as Steve Bixler still holds on to 3rd, but for how long? Randy Shreves as close as he's been, trying to take a peek. Not close enough to think about a big slide job as Bixler can just carry in all that momentum on the top shelf. The 75 looking good, and Blake Chapman 2.5 seconds back the road here off your leader, trying to reel these guys in, but with 15 laps to go, Blake's gonna need some help here, gonna need a caution flag to fly, and man, I don't know what it's gonna take to get one of those. We've had 2 big wrecks, no cautions yet. As Randy Shreves finally taking a look here to the inside. Can he get the pass done? Oh, Dean Reynolds taking a peek to the inside. Slide job for the lead. Dean Reynolds. Brian Moore Sr. back to the inside through 1 and 2. Dean trying to counter. What can he do? Dean Reynolds. Slide job one more time. He's got it at the line. New leader, give it to the 79. 12 laps left to play in Sarver, PA. Steve Bixler holding on to P4 at the moment. He had lost third, this Randy Shreves, but he sees a fella Townie here creeping up. Blake Chapman reeling him in. But Blake's still going to need that caution if he wants to get to this front 3 as Dean Reynolds ripping the high side. 10 laps to go for the 79. Dean Reynolds hasn't really been able to extend that gap since he's gotten the lead. Brian Moore Sr. has maybe adjusted, seen where Dean was beating him. Now that really puts the pressure on Dean. He can't make a mistake. And that, I mean, he's going to do his best not to let that weigh on him as Blake Chapman trying to get to the outside of the mare. Cuts to the inside, going to maybe counter, throw a slide job. 1 and 2, Blake Chapman up to 4th, but the mare counters back underneath, and they're side by side rolling into 3. But battle heating up once again for the lead with 7 laps to go. Brian Moore Sr., he's there. Randy Shreves as well. He's been able to lasso these guys in as they're side by side in the line. Brian Moore Sr. has figured something out through 3 and 4. Oh, couldn't float up in front of Dino. Dino didn't make contact. Brian gonna check up. They live to race another day. 5 to play. But Randy Shreves on up to B2. Couldn't tell if Dino came down. Brian came up. I think that's as racing incident as we could get here. And that's just what you expect. I mean, these 305s aren't, don't have the power that those 360s do. Can't really outmuscle, but when it's allowed, you see Blake Chapman, he has gotten to the back of the front 3 with 3 to play. Randy Shreves is your leader. But man, oh man, will he be able to hold off the kid here? Battle on for the middle podium spot. Blake opening the door, welcoming himself to that party as Randy Shreves leaving the ball. Man, it's 12 o'clock. He's got to get home. Randy Shreves out front, almost by a second lead, is Blake Chapman to the basement, taking a peek under Dean Reynolds. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go. Good race. No caution flags here. We did have a couple incidents, but no caution flags. So I'm sure the driver's feeling it here. Got to be a little tired. So we'll let the salesman here maybe get that taste of, or wipe the butter off his fingers here before he grabs the mic to talk to us. He was definitely popping a lot of popcorn on his way to the front here. I shouldn't say the front. I should say the podium. That's been Blake's home this season. Just podium after podium. That's the only place this kid finishes. And Blake, you don't make it easy on yourself. You start in the back, and it just adds to it, man. Tonight, you're not lucky enough to get one of those cautions that you really, really needed. I mean, early on, lap number 1, they're beating and banging in front of you. You got to check up, kind of milk your way through this field. Do you think that's what doomed you? Just having to kind of go too slow in the beginning? I mean, by the time you got to 5th, I think you were already 3 seconds back.
Yeah, that definitely didn't help. Definitely was hoping for a caution at any point in that race, really. I felt like there was quite a few guys that were getting sideways and quite a few wrecks that, we didn't get cautions for. So unfortunately for me, we went caution free. But yeah, I think the top was just too dominant. here tonight. I think everyone was just fighting for a spot up there. I saw some guys trying to work the middle, but the top still felt faster to me. So that's where I was pretty much the entire night. Fortunately, other guys made mistakes. We were able to capitalize on that and move our way up to third.
Now, were you a little surprised by that, Blake? Because I mean, we've rolled into here I think a couple weeks ago, and I remember, you and Terry, it looked like you almost had lawnmowers out there, getting the left fronts right on the grass. It just different track state tonight. Were you surprised?
No, I really wasn't surprised going into the feature. I knew that the track wasn't going to slick off enough to get the bottom rolling really, and that top was going to be fast all night. If we get a couple more cars and the track slicks off a little bit more, definitely that bottom would be in play. But yeah, it just wasn't in the cards tonight. Figured we'd have to be high, wide, and handsome if we wanted to have a shot at the win, and that's definitely where the fast line was tonight.
Well, hey, man, you end up reeling those guys in after some hard battling up front, and you find your way onto the podium to start the night. Congratulations on a good run, Blake. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank the parents for watching. Got to thank all the guys down at KSR, especially Terry for running with me every week. Got to thank the Salty Dogs for letting us hop in their Discord. Got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps and Annie and AJ Custom Creations for sponsoring this division. Got to thank Dean Reynolds for the admin. I got to thank, of course, Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. They got some of the best stuff out there. You can head over to their website and don't forget to use code CART at checkout for 15% off. Got to thank Mauer Farm Management, of course, Steve's Custom Golf Clubs. And I got to thank everyone that puts on this league, makes it great, and you for doing the broadcast, Shaggy.
Well, hey, heck of a run, Blake. Congratulations, man, and good luck here in the 360s. I think, I don't want to give away your game plan, but you might be able to run that bottom a little here more. Go get him.
I hope so. Thanks, Shaggy.
Blake Chapman bringing home P3. Now we're going to bring up the man who brought home P2, and Brian.
Ah.
Man, you and Dino, you guys were battling hard, and I don't know if you've gotten a chance to look at it, but I think that's his race. That's as racing incident as it could get.
Well,
I mean, you guys are just going so hard. It looked like Dean's coming down a little bit, trying to pinch you, maybe as you're floating up, coming down, and it's not easy to react. And the fact that you were able to keep this thing straight, dude, how tough was that? And bring home a P2 because I know for a fact, man, you take a shot on that right front tire, dude, it's a wild ride, and that was a good save.
Well, yeah, I don't know what happened there. I think a couple of laps there, I was showing him a wheel on the inside of him, and I was just talking to Randy about that, and he was behind us, and he kind of agreed that, man, we were just kind of both going for the same spot. And once was showing him a nose down there for a lap or two, you can't blame a guy for coming down off of the top, which he'd been running. And I didn't expect him to be there. Wasn't even looking for him to come off the top, and and all of a sudden he was there, and it was too late to even react. But yeah, it seemed like it didn't affect the car that much, though. And I hope it didn't hurt his that much. But I know he fell back. But I hate that happened. But it's just, man, it's hard racing, going for it.
Yeah, no, it seemed like once, he got a hold of the car, he was able to keep it rolling. Didn't look like it affected it too bad. Just the initial contact. And man, I mean, you played it out there perfect. I mean, you showed it to him at least two, maybe three laps there. And I mean, like you say, once he sees you coming, you couldn't complete it. Can't blame him for going down there. But at the same time, he's got to know maybe, hey, you're going to be there again. So, I mean, dude, that's just good hard racing. And to be able to hold on to that thing and bring home a P2. Was there anything else maybe we could have done to get to Randy? Because, dude, it seemed like, you were probably, arguably, the quicker car there for the beginning stage. But once you and Dean got racing, man, that's what allowed Randy by. But once he got to the front, he seemed to pull away. Could you have done anything different?
Well, I don't know if Randy would have caught us because Dean
That's
was
the
running
question.
his
Yeah,
line,
I don't think so either,
and
Brian.
I was running my line, and we were just that close. I mean, it wasn't like we were hurting each other's momentum. So I don't know if Randy would have got by us if we hadn't touched and got together a little bit there. And hats off to Randy for being on top of his wheel, man, and missing us when we're up there tangling with each other. But that's just good hard racing, and it's fun. I wouldn't want Dean to race me any other way. that's the way I race him. That's the way he races me, and it's a good hard race and good battle that way a lot of times.
Yeah, man, and it puts on for one hell of a show, Brian. You did a great job tonight bringing home that P2.
Yeah, I
Congratulations,
can't
man.
argue about that, man. Thanks.
Who you want to thank, brother? I know
Well, we
two.
got
I know two for sure. I know the Rick and his wife Rona. I've got them
Rick.
memorized by now.
Rick and Rona, got to give them a shout out. And the Flatline Racing Bodies, I got to give Coast to Coast Racing League shout out, man. Without them, we wouldn't have a place to race. So I appreciate everything, admins and everybody behind the scenes, everything they do. And then Shaggy, your broadcast and everything you do for the league. And Dean, I know he does a lot for this league too. So uh, just everybody behind it. And Young Guns Creations, for giving me the rap that I got, man. I like the shit out of it, and it's pretty cool. I like it. So, yeah.
Yeah, man, Aiden does good work, and he actually, anybody ever wants one, man, that kid loves doing it too. Don't think you're bugging him. He loves going down on the computer and doing that shit. Or excuse me, that
Yeah.
stuff.
No, hey, that's cool because he doesn't do it for the money. He does it because he likes to do it, and he enjoys uh, hooking you up with a new wrap with a new design. He likes doing the design part too. So, keep that in mind.
Yeah, most definitely. He has a lot of fun with it. But hey, Brian, congratulations, and I got a feeling this isn't the last time I'm going to be talking to you, man. Good luck here in the 360s.
All right, thanks, Shaggy.
Brian Moore Sr. bringing home P2. Now we're going to bring up the man of the hour here, Randy Shreves. Man, now I didn't say that word for word, but I noticed you creeping up on those guys and they were racing. And, man, I said you just need them to mix it up a little bit. I didn't know it was going to go down exactly like that, man. But, boy, oh, boy, you shoot the gap, move on up to the lead. And once you got there, Randy, you opened up the can, man. You were quick. I mean, how'd you do it tonight?
Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite tracks. I think I just got a pretty good line here, and track was it's pretty tacky and pretty fast, and you know starting I think seventh, and then working my way up. I had a bad start, and then just mainly I was just trying to find a good line to run there, and just finally got up there in the top three. Was following them guys around for a little while, and just trying to find a better line than them guys, and they got a little tangled up, and then I was just gone from there.
Yeah, I mean, now obviously, Randy, I think me saying you opened up the can there. You had the quickest car. Working through the field, you were definitely quick. But it's one of those things where if they don't make the contact and the racetrack's kind of high dominant, do you think you could have got both of them, or would there needed to be a little separation between the two to get them both done at once? Because it just seemed like it was really hard to pass here tonight.
I don't know. I noticed when I started actually catching them, there was 11 laps to go, and I was just gaining more and more. I just don't know. There possibly could have been enough laps for me to get them because I just felt like I was just on a rail as long as nothing was happening in front of me, and I think that I possibly could have passed them running that high line there if it had gone without them crashing.
Well, hey, man, coulda, woulda, shoulda. It's all yours anyway. You bring it home after a great run, dude. You said it yourself. I mean, we talk about Blake starting in the back. Well, you were only one row ahead of him. I mean, you had to go through the same stuff, and you got to the top spot. You get it done. Congratulations, Randy. Who you want to thank?
I definitely want to thank everybody at Coast to Coast, you Shaggy, for the broadcast. I want to thank my son Dylan Shreves at DS Designs for picking up my new car here. I think it looks pretty awesome. And I want to thank KSB Builders, my buddy Mike for watching, and my boss and his wife. And yeah, man, everybody else for watching.
Well, hey, great run, Randy. I hate to say this, but I said it about the first two, and spoiler alert, man, I wouldn't be shocked you three get back on the podium again here whenever we go to the 360s. So go give them heck, Randy. Look forward to talking to you again, man.
Right on, Zach. We'll talk to you later.
Randy Shreves, definitely going to be one of the favorites here. Maybe count Grandy in this list here if he can keep it straight. If he's in the next one, gets a good starting spot, he's going to be a guy to keep your eye on. But we're going to step away here for a couple minutes, and we'll be right back with part 2 of your Flatline Racing Bodies hometown heroes at the Lernerville Speedway. Stick around.
It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a bit of a hiatus, so let's get.
Right when we talked about it.
Outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash, found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
We're back live on the Coast2Coast Racing Network, part 2 of 3 here. The meat in the sandwich for hometown heroes for the Coast2Coast Racing Network, or Coast2Coast Racing League on the Coast2Coast Racing Network. Brought to you by Flatline Racing Bodies. These are the 360 sprint cars. And right now, Rick Main, the top dog, Brian Moore Sr. P2, and Blake Chapman rounds out the top 3 with Randy Shreves and Grandy, respectively 4th and 5th with the same lap. Should be a good one here tonight, as we're not going to be able to roll this thing into qualifying till quarter of here. Just so that's just set up for if, anybody else can get in the session. We'd love to have more cars teaming up. That's all that is about. Let's ride around here with Dean Reynolds for a lap or two. Actually, no, that's not the right camera. Okay, so there we go. Maybe I should rename that. I'm going to tell you what it's called. It's called right front suspension, and this has nothing to do with the right front suspension. I just moved that camera here. I like rolling around here. You don't get to see the outside as much, but you get to see the way Dean's fighting that steering wheel. He's not really fighting it right now, which is good. That means he's quick. You want to keep that thing as straight as you can. That's where the speed's at. So Dean looking pretty good here tonight at the Lernerville Speedway. Let's see. I don't have the right rear either. Shame on me. I did rename that one. This is kind of from the inside, but you can see Dean's so close. That outside wall. Or I mean that outside cushion. So park here in one. I think anybody will really be using too high up here in one. Yeah, no, they're going to kind of enter in the middle. See, we've seen some guys taking the bottom here off of 4. That's what Blake's going to do. Dean's up here ripping the top. So definitely different strokes for different folks here. There's a couple different ways to bite the apple. There's William Watson. He's out here in his own practice session. Oh, and here comes Terry Landis, actually. So the Desert Demon in his as well. Only about another minute or so here till we'll probably roll into qualifying. So not a lot of time. A couple drivers will maybe head out onto the track one last time, see what it's like here before we roll into qualifying. Mason Hine doing exactly that here in the 89 machine. You know, I've always been that guy. You might as well. I like to be on the racetrack right when, the checkered flag waves for the end of the session, because it's, you can't hurt yourself by knowing exactly what the track state is when you go out there. So, as long as you're comfortable with beating up the racetrack and not going out there and just trying to run on a 0% track wear surface, somebody, just a one-lap qualifier and maybe an official race there. We all know people like that who have the one-lap speed and can't necessarily hold on to it, but that's not the case here in the Coast2Coast Racing League. Randy here going a little high and handsome. Is Dino probably on the horn here telling them that he's getting ready to roll it over? And that is correct. Checkered flag waves. And we're going to get ready to go into qualifying here for the 360 sprint cars. We'll see who pulls out on the racetrack first. My guess would be it'll be Joseph Grandy. No, man, it is. It is Joe by a big margin. Nobody else. Now Pat Boyce is just past the start-finish line. So Grandy, he wasn't messing around. He wanted to prove me right. He's going to roll through 3 and 4, set to take the green flag. First lap underway here for your Flatline Racing Bodies 360 sprint cars. Grandy getting a little loose there through 1 and 2. Not going to be the speed he wants. He doesn't throw the lap away. Still runs the bottom in 3 and 4. Lap number 1 going to be a 13-1. Not going to do the trick there. Is Bob DeGood on the top, but for how long? Randy Shreves came around purple sector 2. That may have just been an opening lap, though. Randy Shreve's not on the board. Grandy comes around, second lap time, not any quicker. Bob the Good still at the top of the charts. Dean Reynolds comes around. He parks at P3. Randy Shreves came around. He couldn't find the time. Blake Chapman finds the time. And that's lap number 1. He's still got one more in the chamber. Can Blake improve through sector 1 slower? Little quicker through sector 2. Blake Chapman. Not going to be quicker, but the 20 still on the top of the charts. William Watson coming around his second and final lap. Slower through sector 1. What can Bart do? Final time through 3 and 4. Not going to improve. William Watson qualifies P6. Going to be money, though, for that invert. Going to start P2 in heat race number 2, I would think. As all 13 drivers have qualified. Blake Chapman, Bob DeGood, Rick Mayne, Jeff Barker, and Joseph Grandy, your top 5. But remember, Blake Chapman, he'll be sitting on the bench. Come time for heat race number 1. This kid's got to make it hard on himself. As we take a look at the starting lineup for heat race number 1. The librarian Pat Boyce rounds out the field in the 41. Row 3 to the high side, the 89 of Mason Hine. To the inside, the 055 of Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. Row 2 to the outside, the 20 of the salesman, Blake Chapman. To the inside, the 187 of Rick Mayne. Row 1 for heat race number 1 to the outside, the 518 of $100,000, Joseph Grandy. And starting on the pole, the 79 of Dean Reynolds. Dino knows here. I mean, you could start on the pole for tonight's feature, which the winner of heat race number 1 will. They get rewarded with that. That's a big chunk of the battle. If Dino could get up there, start up front, that'd be huge here for the 79 as we roll into 3 and 4 for the final time. The green flag's high. It's ready to fly. Heat race number 1 is underway. We've got 6 laps to play. Dean with a good jump here, but he's already feeling the heat. Joseph Grandy kicking it up a notch. He's on the high side. Rick Mayne thought about a 3 wide, had to shut it down. Dino completes the slide job. Grandy got to back out, cuts underneath. Do-si-do through 1 and 2. Grandy can't shut the door. Dino to the top shelf. The 79 holds on. Rick Mayne to the bottom. He moves on up into P2. We're already got 2 laps in the books, 4 to play. But Rick Mayne, man, he's got some pace. Able to get up to P2 as Brian Moore Sr. moves up 1 spot. Actually stays where he started because the no-show for Blake Chapman, I always forget to factor that in. But the battle is heating up for the lead. Here, Rick Mayne is all over the back of Dino. He can smell what he ate for dinner. 2 to play. Can he find a way around that 79? Dean loses the rear end a little bit through the center of 2. Rick's got to send it in here. Dean, slide job. No, he keeps it in the center. Leaves Dino a lane. 1 to play. The 79. Can he hold it? Final time through 1 and 2. Rick Mayne floats up the racetrack a little bit, but leaves Dino room. Slide job through 3 and 4. Dino cuts underneath. Oh, give it to Dean Reynolds at the line. Rick Mayne almost got it done. Grandy P3. Brian Moore Sr. 4th. Mason Hine 5th. And oh my God, sorry, I missed the final 2. I know Blake Chapman was last. Can't remember the other one. But boy, that I held my breath. I didn't know who was bringing that one home. What a finish here. Heat race number 1. Row 3 to the outside, the 56 of Randy Shreves. To the inside, the mayor in the 75, Steve Bixler. Row 2 to the outside, the 7 of Bob DeGood. To the inside, the 513 of the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. Row 1 for your second and final heat race here for the Flatline Racing Bodies 360 Sprint Cars. To the high side, the 23 of Bart William Watson. And starting on the pole, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. We should go green here this time by as Steve King Foundation pace car does pull off the racing surface. Two of the best set to bring us to the green flag. The Desert Demon on the bottom, barred up high. We're ready to fly. Green flag in the air as they drive off into turn 1. The Desert Demon able to slide up in front of the 23 of William Watson, but the battle's still on here for 4th. Steve Bixler trying to get it done there in the Salty Dog 75, but Bob the Good got the 7 rolling to the top shelf. And here comes your 305 sprint car feature winner, the 56 of Randy Shreves. Can he find a way to muscle his way on up through the field, get himself a better starting spot in tonight's feature? We'll have to see. We've got 4 laps to go as William Watson inches closer to your leader there in the 161. Terry Landis, who gets a little sideways, coming off of turn 4, hits the bump. That allows William Watson to be right there. A little bit of contact as we go through 3 and 4. It's 2 sticks in the air, 2 laps to go. William Watson as close as he's been, and here comes the Brewerton Beast. Jeff Barker as Terry Landis kicks it into high gear, trying to open up that gap. White flag in the air, 1 more lap to go. Terry Landis doesn't have to be perfect here. Like I say, just gotta be smooth. Final time through 3 and 4. Checkered flag in the air. And it's the Demon. Bart P2, the Brewerton Beast 3rd, Bob the Good 4th, Randy Shreves 5th, and the Mayor P5 as we take a quick break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. We'll be right back with your 360 Sprint Car feature. Stick around. Whoops, sorry, I forgot to hide the overlay. That's why you saw the refresh there, but we're back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. And oh, wow, ride for Rick Main there on the inside as Terry Landis gives us a wheelie coming out of the pits. We are in for a good one here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. I'm telling you, this is going to be a show here. Got Blake trying to work his way up through the field, some of the best up front. This is going to be fun to watch. Gloves are going to be off, 25 laps in the play here in Sarver, Pennsylvania. So let's see here if we can get you a starting feature lineup. Of course, it goes backwards. I could have swore I had the number typed in. But hey, we'll go with it. Rounding out the field, the salesman, Blake Chapman in the 20 machine. Row 6 to the outside, the mayor in the 75, Steve Bixler. To the inside, the 41 of the librarian, Patrick Boyce. Row 5 to the high side, the 56 of Randy Shreves. To the inside, the 89 of Mason Hine. Row 4 to the top shelf, the 7 of Bob the Good. To the inside, Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. Row 3 to the outside, the 513 of the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. To the inside, the 518 of 100 Grand, Joseph Grandy. Row 2 to the high side, the 23 of William Watson. To the inside, the 187 of Rick Main. Row 1 for your flatline racing bodies, 360 sprint car feature. To the outside, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. And starting on the pole, the 79 of Dean Reynolds. Oh, Dino, hang on, Dino! Oh, Dino, giving us a wheelie there, but boy, oh boy. Oh, man, he's still trying to swallow what he bit off there. That was a wild ride for the 79. He's going to, pull those belts tight one more time here. Maybe, do a quick smell check here. I think he's good to go. If that was a code brown, that's for sure. As the green flag's high, it's about ready to fly. 25 laps to play in the clay at the Lernerville Speedway. Dean Reynolds leads us to the green flag on the way. Side by side, Terry Landis, though, has to give way here, and he's going to lose another spot to the 187. Rick Main shot out of a cannon. New leader through 3 and 4, the 187. But Dean Reynolds fights back on the high side. Dean, he's gathered up the horses. He had them rolling, but the caution flag waves. Randy Shreves possibly involved, maybe as well as Pat Boyce. Let's see what happened here. So Randy Shreves he's in the middle, 4 wide here. Jeff Barker kind of comes down the racetrack a little bit. Randy couldn't check up in time. It's a sandwich. And Pat Boyce comes up across the nose of the 89 as the 56 comes down across the nose of the 89. We all meet in the middle in front of the flag stand. That's going to bring out a caution flag, and going to be the first one of the night here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. As I do believe Rick Main, yes, he did win the race to the line. The 187 is your leader here. Hinkle Holmes A&J Custom Creations 187 machine. Leading the way here as drivers should and will start to double up here. We'll get the 1 to go this time by, and your leader, Rick Main, going to choose the inside. Going to put Dino up top where he wants to be, but I mean, Rick Main may be showing, do you want to be downstairs? Because that 187 had some speed down low completing the pass. So maybe if you're Dean, you got to think here is park it on into 3. Watch that Steve King Foundation pace car go off. We're going to drive into 3. You'll see that green flag high. She's ready to fly. Good jump for Rick Main as he's out front easily. Battle on behind, though. Brian Moore Sr. feeling it from Joseph Grandy and William Watson. And the battle back on for second. Terry Landis shopping downstairs, looking for discounts in the basement. Couldn't find one. Going to go back here, look one more time. Maybe found a coupon. Can he slide up in front? Does he complete the slide job through 3 and 4? No, Mr. Nice Guy going to stay down low. He's going to kick him into you-know-where. Dino holding on to P2. Now he comes down, trying to pinch the Desert Demon. Does it enough? He's got any lane of his choosing. And boy, oh boy, back to it. Terry Landis trying to make it work. But this is just allowing a 187 of Rick Main to drive off into the 717 area code. I mean, he's headed east. He's coming over towards me because he is out front driving this thing away. Dino finally completes it, gets it done as we take a peek back here. Pretty much single file as we're parking in through 4. There we go, getting a little side-by-side racing. William Watson able to get around that 55 of Brian Moore Sr. Or maybe hold off Brian Moore Sr. actually, now that I'm kind of looking at where they've started. Brian Moore Sr. up a spot, is trying to pick another one off, and Blake Chapman started 12th, only running 10th here, or 13th, excuse me, only running 10th. Has not been a race to write home about here for the salesman Blake Chapman, as Rick Main out front by almost a second for the 79 and the 161. Both down low through 3 and 4. Oh, Terry getting a little loose there. Getting a little scary there for Terry as William Watson. See, he's one of the first guys to rip that outside through 1 and 2. He's not stayed shying away from it. Cushion is thin, but there is speed up there. William Watson trying to run down the front 3. He's got time, 14 laps to go, but he's going to have to be perfect to make up that kind of gap. Well, no, he doesn't. I said he was 3 seconds back, and he was now 2.8 at the line. But William may be getting a little sideways there, 1 and 2. Let's go back to him. Okay, now it extends back to 3-2, 2-9. So he's doing okay, but this is where it seems to get a little difficult. It's maybe too far away around the racetrack through 1 and 2. Not making up the time like he is in 3 and 4. Maybe wants to combo a little bit. As you see Rick Main, he's your leader. He's running the bottom. That's how he's been making his money here. It's how he made the pass for the lead. Oh, caution flag flies. Caution flag flies. Can't tell if Joseph Grandy was involved or not. This was after the caution flag, so let's see if this was it. Or if this is just maybe Blake slowing down. Sometimes iRacing likes to mess with us. No, that may have been the caution. That indeed may have and probably was the caution. As Blake catches it, loops around. Randy was running in the back, so this may have happened earlier. This is who I thought was possibly the caution, so I may have missed him going over the edge here. He seems to be by himself. That's what he does there, 3 and 4. There was no caution for that, though. Grandy, excellent job. Or was that the caution? No, because it stays green. You would see the caution flag wave there. So Grandy definitely not the culprit there. Blake Chapman, who's lined up behind him. As the light should go off this time on the Steve King Foundation pace car, and Dino has another chance here to go back at the 187. Not going to be easy, though. Rick has been good, man. Been able to check out. And you got to think he's probably wondering, where's Blake Chapman? Well, Blake, as we saw, brought out that caution. He's at the tail end, so Rick doesn't have to sweat about him. He can just worry about the two in the mirror. As we roll through 3 and 4 for the final time, we'll see that green flag set to wave. We're back underway, 10 to play. Pick up for me, excuse me, but the battle on behind. William Watson now, you know, he was one of the guys running that top side, trying to reel him in here. Now that caution flag helped, and they're battling behind 3, almost 4 wide. Randy Shreves in the middle. Blake trying to keep it down low. Boy, oh boy, they are battling all over this racetrack. Terry Landis back at the bottom looking for P2 one more time. But Dean Reynolds trying to fight him off. He does. As we roll through 3 and 4, we're coming to 7 laps to go this time by. Steve Bixler. Joseph Grandy finds a way around. But Steve Bixler hard into the wall, and we're under caution here for the third time at the Lernerville Speedway. Couldn't tell what made the mare go up over the edge there, but we kind of caught the tail end of it. Let's see. So self-induced. Just drives it in a little too deep, goes up over the edge, tries to save it, but this goes airborne, loses control, hard into the wall. And that's going to bring out the caution. Rick Main's still your leader. We're within 10 laps to go here. So no more double file restarts, single file restarts from here on out, and that's going to be what Rick wants to hear. You don't want to have any unnecessary double file restarts. That's just going to add to it. Was just rolling that top side. Maybe searching, seeing what's left here. You see there's maybe a little bit right now where Steve Bixler's left rear is. Maybe a little bit of tack still left there. But it's thin. It's going to be tough to hit. And if somebody's willing to do it, it may pay off, but it may be risky. You miss, you might make contact with that guy in front of you. Or get a little loose and get hit from that guy behind you as the Steve King Foundation pace car pulls off. The green flag set to fly. 5 laps to go here at the Lernerville Speedway. Good jump there for the 187. Battle back on again for P2. Terry Landis. Man, he is making Dean Reynolds work here. Dino trying to get that run off the top shelf. It's enough this time by. But once again, it is allowing the 187 to just absolutely walk off with this lead here. But Terry Landis clears him going into 3. What can he do off of 4? Dean answers back, swinging a back full of hammers there off the top shelf. And that's where I said you want that combo line. Dino's got it. Now, he needs to nail it, but you need to... Oh, slide up! Blake Chapman comes up in front of William Watson. William didn't get on the binders. Not sure if he had time, but he's still rolling. Wild ride here at the Lernerville Speedway. Let's see. It's going to happen in 3 and 4, so we're going to go. That's what Williams sees. You kind of see it coming at this point in time. And, you know, you could lift. You could try to go around the top. The sliders are a part of racing. William probably not going to be pumped about it. But, man, like I say, that is... You go to a dirt track anywhere in the country, you're going to see a handful of them go across throughout the night here. But let's go see this overview camera. And you can see, I mean... Clear, clear, clear. You see it coming, and Blake, I mean, he's shown it. He's going up there. There's nowhere to stop from there. And tough. Another caution, and it's going to bring us to a green-white checkered here, I believe. Just a part of racing, and that's the name of the game here sometimes. But Blake Chapman, he goes down pit road. Not too sure if that's maybe a self-penalty or if he had damage. What he wanted there, but he's would have got himself up to, I believe, 4th with that pass. Now back to the tail end one more time. 2 laps to go. There's not going to be enough time to get that thing back up towards the front, I wouldn't think. Could maybe steal a top 5 wolf just because it's Blake Chapman, and he does things sometimes that you don't think are possible, but man, a win. I think that's just kind of out of order here. I don't think that's common as we roll through 3 and 4 for the final time. Rick Main looking to get it done here. Green flag waves. Great jump for the 187. And now Terry Landis trying to go back to work here for P2 as Brian Moore Sr. felt some pressure from Jeff Barker, who had to maybe check up off that throttle, tried to take a peek low, but the white flag's in the air. Dean Reynolds, he's close. Don't know if he's close enough here. Rick gets a little loose coming off of 2. Final time through 3 and 4. Rick gonna protect the bottom. Dino trying to build it up off the top. Checkered flag wave. Rick May gets it done by a nose over Dean Reynolds. Terry Landis 3rd. Brian Moore Sr. 4th. Joseph Grandy rounds out your top 5. Great finish. You saw some guys spinning there coming to the line. Wild ride, but at the end of the night here, Rick Main parks it on top of the hill here at the Lernerville Speedway. Good run here for the 187. Desert Demon gets his way on up in here. And well, we're going to trying to think here, what would be that longest stint, just so I'm not having to go back and redo them all the time. Let's see here. I think this will be a pretty good one as we give Terry Landis a minute or 2 here to catch his breath. And we'll pull up the driver of the 161. Well, no, he's already up here. He's not messing around. Hey, Terry, Shaggy in the booth, man. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Dude, you and Dino, my gosh. I mean, that was the battle on the racetrack. I mean, spoiler alert for Rick Main. He didn't get much TV time, man, because you guys were the show side by side the majority of the race. How much fun was that?
Dude, that was a workout, and it was so much fun. I just wish iRacing would allow us to cut that corner off the wing, man. If they would do that, it would make running the bottom a lot easier because you can't see how far to drift out with that wing corner on the wing. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. That right front kind of had to angle that down. Yep.
Yeah.
That would be, man. Why won't iRacing give us that? I guess because it would make the racing better, probably.
I reckon.
But
But yeah,
man,
it was great racing with Dino, man.
yeah, dude, it looked like, I mean, not that this is obviously one of the tracks where, Terry, if anybody knows by now, they got to keep an eye on you. You're pretty good here. But do you think the track maybe was more to your style tonight than normal? It seemed like, man, everybody wanted to go down on the bottom tonight. And that's not, I mean, bottom fast here sometime. But, man, there were guys fighting to get down there.
Yeah, right. I was surprised that no one came like Brian. I thought for sure he'd come ripping around me on the outside, but I guess he stayed on the bottom too. I don't know, but yeah, um, the bottom was good. And like me and Blake were talking, bottom was great in 1 and 2. 3 and 4 is a little sketchy because you really had to almost hang the left front or around the grass there.
Yeah, and I called you Mr. Nice Guy a couple times tonight for that reason because, Terry, was there any thought, man? I'm going to have to put my bobblehead in your race car there. You think of me as the devil. Why, man? You're too nice sometimes. You know how many times you could have completed that slide job out of 4, but you were just playing nice on the bottom? Boy, oh boy, I could see it was killing you guys down there.
Yeah, the car had, with getting that much bite, it was really so great down there. But you get a great bite, and it would just push the front end right to the wall. So I didn't, I couldn't tell. You can't tell who's out there, and I know they were getting a good ripple on that top coming out of 4. I had Dino passed a couple times, but then I didn't want to slide up because, that's not me. And here he goes by me again. But it was fun.
Man, it looked like it, and it made me jealous sitting up here tonight because you and Dino, you guys were having fun out there. And you could see it. It was just, man, it translated to a hell of a battle. Congratulations, Terry, on the P3, man. Who you want to thank?
Thanks, Shaggy. You, of course, Shaggy TV, best TV on YouTube doing racing, and Flatline Racing Bodies because they make you a good body if you need it. And all the admins back at C2C give us a good place to race. And Kreitz Oval Track Parts because you need some new parts. And guys back KSR and Blake. It's always fun. He was running into some proms tonight, but he'll get us in the midgets. Watch. And then Galen's Homegrown Popcorn, use the word cart, and you get 15% off. Jeter and my wife Judy.
Yeah, and you tell him his cousin said, man, sliders are a part of racing. That thing was clean. It sucks. It sucks sometimes, but dude, that's the way it goes. And I don't know.
Yep.
You know, man. It's just, dude, when that's dirt racing nowadays, when everybody's as fast as each other. I mean, sometimes that's why you got to get it done, and it makes for
Yeah,
good racing.
sometimes.
But congratulations, Terry. Good run, and I'm looking forward to see what you can do here, man. Good luck.
Thanks, Shaggy.
Terry Landis brought home P3. Now we're gonna bring up the man who brought home P2. But Dino, we're turning back the clock. You're coming to get the 1 to green, okay, to start the race, and you pull a wheelie. Did you think you were ending up in the fence down there on the front stretch?
No,
That was a wild ride.
Yeah, it was. Actually, I thought I was going to spin it right out and look at Ricky Main.
Yeah, when you came back up the
I'm like-
racetrack. Oh,
I'm
man.
like, when I pulled the wheelie, I go, wait a minute, I think this is going towards the infield. I better let this down. Came down, I go, yep, there's the wall.
Now, Dean, I got to talk to Terry about it a little bit, and it seemed like, man, you figured it out, but it was too late. And then we kind of had the green-white checkered. But did it seem like tonight you wanted the top in 3 and 4, and then you could kind of run that slider, middle, bottom, the line in 1 and 2? Because, dude, I mean, you were right there on the tail tank crossing the checkered flag.
Oh, exactly. I was going to stay top that whole race because when I did the 3-minute practice, my fastest time was top. But for some reason, 1 and 2 up top was okay, but that middle groove in 1 and 2 never burned off. And Terry was eventually going to get me, running that bottom. So that's where I had to abandon and go down there. And I can't run the bottom for shit, Shaggy, you know that. And but then I was watching Ricky do a slider line. I said, okay, maybe I can salvage this. But yeah, 3 and 4. I mean, Ricky, he just told me he doesn't feel comfortable running up there, and that's why he didn't really go up there. Because he goes, I know me. Eventually, I'm going to go over. And I said, well, usually I do too, but that's where I run. And every time I was getting close and getting a run on him, the yellow would come out because you need like 3 laps to get in a groove. You really do. And but on that last restart, I was surprised how close I was to him. It was a green-white checkered, and I was trying to see if I could maybe do what I did in the heat and just come back across, but my entry was a little bit too far sideways, and I had good speed coming out, but there was nothing I could do. And his line is he's going to slide up to the wall, which he should. That's the line he's running, but I couldn't do nothing to cut under. But after the 305s, where I thought maybe I had a wind leave me there with a little bit of wing damage. Being second to Ricky Main, and you know how good Ricky is. I mean, we've raced with him for a while, and any of those Inferno guys, I want to win, yes, but I'm okay finishing second to an Inferno guy or a Spangler or a Chapman. We'll be okay.
No, and realistically, Dino, man, I told Terry this, and well, I'll have to tell Rick this. He might be a little disappointed, but you and Terry were the show tonight. I mean, you were on the TV for the most of the time here. How much fun was that? I mean, you guys were running side by side, giving each other, not miles of room, but enough room, man, to race hard and have fun. I mean, how much do you enjoy that, dude?
Well, isn't that what Hometown Heroes is? That's what we've been preaching to get more cars into Hometown Heroes because, we had 4 yellows. That's unusual for us. I don't think we ever had 4 yellows at all. I don't know what happened or stuff, but
it averages out because you had 0 in the 305s. It averages out. Okay.
Yeah, and it's great racing. We all have fun out here. Yes, do we want to win? We want to beat the damn kid that sells a lot of popcorn, and such. But that's what Hometown Heroes is. And I was happy. We had I think 11 or 12 and 305. We had 14 in a 360. So if we can get a couple more, Shaggy, and a good 16 car field, this will be a lot of fun. But I like Lernerville. My first ever sprint car win in Coast to Coast was at Lernerville, and I always like running the top here. Sometimes it does bite you, but it's my track. It's not my track. I don't know it's my track, but I do like running here, and that was a lot of fun. I just wish that race went a little bit more green flag so I can keep that momentum going and see what I could have had for Ricky. But hey, he earned it. And Terry, Terry in 1 and 2 down low, man, he stuck that well.
Yeah, that was kind of, I think, the problem for you. You could never really go after Rick because, well, Terry's right there barking on your heels. And, man, it was a lot of fun to watch. You put on a good show tonight here, Dino, and look forward to watching you do it again here soon. But you're going to take this next one off, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not a little people guy. I like to watch Rico Abreu race, but I don't like to race little guys. So yeah, we'll take it off, and then I'll watch it. I was gonna go into a ICL late model race, but I see it's super late models at Kokomo. Yeah, let me jump right into that. So I think I'm done, and I probably should because Megan's over. She's actually sitting here on the couch watching, and haven't seen her in 2 weeks. So I guess if I want to keep her, I guess I better put this iRacing thing away and maybe spend solid 12 minutes with her or something like that.
Yeah, the real question is, are you dragging Megan down to Pennsylvania with you next week?
No, no, I don't really bring Megan to races I work at because I'm just so busy and it's not fair. But now I got a trip. We're going to New England in the middle of June, and I actually made up a 358 race. I got rained out, and it's the Thursday before we go there. Now I got to bring her. I told her, don't get used to this. This is just a fluke thing here. So, but no, no, we bring her to some races where we can have fun. We go to Brewerton, watch the sprint cars there. We're gonna have a beverage or two and hang out with some friends and stuff like that. So she goes to, I don't know, 5, 6 races, 7 races a year, and then when banquet season comes, then she goes out and buys that dress, and then we.
Yeah, that's where. Yeah, that's where she makes the money. She brings in the dollars right there.
Yeah, absolutely. She fills off the goods.
Yeah, well, hey, congratulations on a good run, Dino. Can't wait to talk to you again, man. And well, if I don't talk to you before then, I'll see you next week, brother. Safe travels.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and just want to thank you for televising this. Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring. All the guys from FTM had a lot of fun. I saw Bart Watson running a sprint car. That's so cool. So and actually finished right behind me. So he'll be better than me in like 2 weeks. So so cool. And again, congratulations to Ricky on the win, and congratulations on Terry on third.
Well, hey, have a good night, Dino. Talk to you soon, brother.
Thanks, brother.
Dean Reynolds bringing home P2, and now we're going to bring up the man of the hour here, Rick Main. I'll tell you, Rick, it seemed like, it's one of those coulda, woulda, shoulda deals, man. 25 laps seemed to be the perfect amount, though, because I don't know if you could tell. Obviously, you're quick as hell in the beginning portion of that race, but at the end, it seemed like the bottom started to go away. Could you feel Dino breathing down your back there at the end?
Yeah, that green white checkered, I was just, praying I got enough of a jump, and I was living or dying by the bottom. I searched around a little bit there earlier, and I just got comfortable, in a nice throttle rhythm, hitting the bottom each lap, and unless I could see somebody peek a nose up there, I wasn't coming off the bottom.
No, man, can't blame you. I mean, you're out front. That was the ticket. Were you surprised, or did you know from running warm-ups that you were going to be able to just hook up like that through 1 and 2? Because you got to the lead, and well, let's be honest. 4 cautions tonight. If not for a lot of those, race probably isn't as close. As it came down to, you had a lot of pace. But were you surprised by the bottom, or did you know it was going to be there?
Yeah, like I said last week, I gave those guys some crap again. I said, hey, you guys are leaving the bottom all juiced up. Blake's gonna be coming through because everybody likes running the top.
Oh man, you warned them back-to-back weeks, and they didn't. Oh man.
And Dino missed attack just a little bit coming out of 2, and I was able to hook up, and that's all I needed. And luckily, the caution came out after I crossed the finish line for once. I got lucky on one of those deals. Normally, I lose about 4 spots, so I was pretty happy.
Yeah, and that was a close one, too, because, obviously, you just got to beat him by an inch. But, man, that was only about half a car. You finally had built up some momentum on the high side. But, Rick, once again, man, you find yourself on a top step of a C2C podium. And, man, you definitely, I'm not supposed to play favorites, but my favorite color is red. You definitely got the best-looking sprint car out of the bunch here. So, glad to see that Hinkle Holmes 187 on the top step, man. Good run. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, just I want to make sure I remember to thank Flatline Racing Bodies this week. Just all my guys at Inferno, the guys at Hinkle Homes, JRB Designs. Chase does my killer wraps for me. We'll have a new one for next season, so the red will disappear. Sorry, Shaggy. The guys at A&J Customs. Yeah, just all you guys for putting the broadcast on. C2C. And I want to congratulate Dino and Terry there on a podiums tonight.
Yeah, man. Rick, I wanted to save it till the end, and I didn't want to break your heart. But obviously, when you kick that much butt out front, I didn't give you a lot of TV time because if you go back and look at it, these guys were beating the brakes off each other behind you, man. They were a lot of fun to watch. But you drove off. You were the story tonight. Great run, and can't wait to talk to you again, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Rick Main getting it done here, bringing home the checkered flag, and we're going to step away for a couple minutes here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network, and we'll be right back with your Flatline Racing Bodies midget sprint cars here at the Lernerville Speedway. Stick around.
It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Gets on the champion, trying to be a bit of a hiatus. So let's get.
Tonight we'll be talking about it.
Outpouring of love. It was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
We are back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. We'll bring up the overlay as soon as I turn it on. Shame on me. I got talking to my wife. And, well, I got to turn this stuff on here, so let me make sure I'm live. Empty that up. Bring the race up. And it is definitely working on my end, but not your guys's. Not too often that happens. Checkered flag waves on warm-ups. We'll play around with this a little bit. There it comes. And everyone knows by now, Brandon Templeton, he'll be out first on the racetrack. Let's wait for him. Oh my God, no he's not. Brandon Templeton must have forgot to eat his Wheaties this morning. Still on pit road. Maybe actually not going to qualify here because this is unlike Brandon. I'll tell you, he's the first one out there on the racetrack every time as the green flag set to wave. Here for the gentleman Jack hit. He rolls the bottom here through 1 and 2. What's he going to do through 3 and 4? He's going to rip that high side. He was purple through 1 and 2, so he might just think the high side's quickest through 3 and 4. And maybe it is. Purple, top of the charts, 15-1 for the gentleman in the 217 who's rolling around that high side one more time. Yellow through sector 1, needs to find more time. He does in sector 2, but not enough. First lap going to be the quickest as Randy Shreves rolls around. He parks at P2 in the 56. His final lap, final time around, slower through sector 1. Not going to have it here through 3 and 4. Randy Shreves going to stay P2. Brandon Templeton is coming out. Purple through sector 1. Quick time for the 31. Brandon Templeton at the top of the charts. That's P1. The driver have me holding my breath here. Oh, he's going to have me holding it one more time as he's up and over. Ambulance to the top of turn 1 there for Brandon Templeton. As 9 of our 10 drivers have put in a time here. Mason Hine has not put one in. Not too sure if he'll be here for the race or not, but checkered flag waves on qualifying. And we are going to get set to take a look at our Flatline Racing Bodies starting lineup for our one and only heat race. As I click the correct button. Row 5 to the outside, Mason Hine in the 89 to the inside, the 41 of the Librarian Pat Boyce. Row 4 to the top shelf, the 7 of Bob DeGood to the inside, the Mayor in the 75, Steve Bixler. Row 3 to the outside, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis to the inside, the 20 of the Salesman, Blake Chapman. Row 2 to the high side, the 31 of B-Temp, Brandon Templeton, lining up on his inside, the 217 of the gentleman, Jack Hitt. Row 1 for heat race number 1. Winner starts on the front, or really just sets the feature. So top 2 will start on the front row for tonight's feature. On the outside, the 56 of Randy Shreves. To the inside, the 513 of the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. We're going to do both laps here. For the midgets, just they're just looking out for me, wanting to make sure I have enough time to get in the grid order. I appreciate it. We're going to wait just a little bit here until we go back and play. If you're out there watching, let us know who you're rooting for here tonight. If you got a favorite driver, I'd love to know who it is. Final time through 3 and 4. Green flag set to wave as we've got 6 to play here. In the midget sprint cars, Jeff Barker drops the hammer. Can he hold off Randy Shreves fighting on the outside? Oh, 3 wide there for second for a moment, but Randy gets the run out. Now Brandon Templeton shot out of a cannon in the 31. On the outside, goes over the bump there, able to wrangle it in here. Gonna lose a couple spots as Terry Landis gonna as well. Trying to knife his way on through 3 wide for second. Randy Shreves ripping the outside, new leader at the line. Randy Shreves taking over the top step. Jeff Barker trying to hold on to P2, maybe trying to come back with a little piece of his own here. But we're at the cross flags, 3 laps to go. And Brandon Templeton, whoa, he hit the bump he met a little bit ago. Wild ride for the driver of the 31, but he's got some speed. And he's moving that thing on up through the field. Let's ride on board. And he completes the pass for P2. Brandon Templeton dives to the bottom of the racetrack, got the lawnmower out, trying to trim the grass there. But Randy Shreves has the momentum off the top, trying to pull away. Blake Chapman making a move here for P3 with the white flag in the air. Brandon Templeton battle on for the lead. They were side by side. Enter 3 for the final time. Through 4, checkered flag waves. P-Temp has to get on the button. He's going to lose 2 spots, 3 spots at the line as Barker gets P2. Blake third. Jack Hitt 4th. There comes Brandon Templeton, Bob the Good, Steve Bixler, Terry Landis, Pat Boyce, and Mason Hine. Man, wild finish there. And B-Temp, he's going to have to work as we're going to take a quick break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. We'll be right back after this. We're back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Your final feature of the evening about set to get underway. Brandon Templeton, Terry Landis, Blake Chapman, Jack Hitt, Pat Boyce, your top 5 here in warm-ups. No laps from Mason Hine, Bob DeGood, or Jeff Barker. We should see at least 2 of them come feature time, I would think, but no laps here in warm-ups. Only 7 guys putting it in. Well, we'll get ready here to... Oh, wild ride there for Terry Landis. Checkered flag waves. Man, the Desert Demon. Have to shake that one off here before we get set to roll. Hopefully he's not in VR. It's going to be the real. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But let's pull up this starting lineup here for tonight's feature. Running out the field, row 5 to the high side, the 89 of Mason Hine, to the inside, the 41 of the Librarian, Pat Boyce. Row 4 to the top shelf, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. To the inside, the 75 of the Mayor, Steve Bixler. Row 3 to the outside, the 7 of Bob DeGood. To the inside, the 217 of the Gentleman, Jack Hitt. Row 2 to the outside, the 20 of the Salesman, Blake Chapman. To the inside, the 31 of B-Temp, Brandon Templeton. Okay, I'm just realizing you saw there B-Temp. It had on my standings. So the SDK standings were wrong. B-Temp was able to hold on to 3rd. We had him falling back to 5th at the end of the race standings. I can't make those up. So sorry about that, Brandon, but clearly coming home 3rd. That is something I just processed. But row number 1 for tonight's Flatline Racing Bodies Midget Sprint Car feature. To the high side, the 513 of the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. And starting on the pole, the 56 of Randy Shreves. Have to see here. Blake Chapman, he's able to get on the podium in the 305, but we'll see if the Preacher here can get himself back on the podium for the 2nd time here tonight. He had a rough 360 race. Ended up self-penalizing, I'm sure that was. Didn't want to get it done that way. Moves to the back. Got to shake it off. See if he can go up here and run with the dogs, because Randy Shreves about to drop that hammer. We're underway. 25 to play here at the Lernerville Speedway. Oh, Brandon Templeton driving it in deep. He had to lift out of the throttle. Had time to gather it, but that was a close call. Brandon going to drive it in there one more time. Gets underneath the 56. We're 3 wide at the line. Give it to Jeff Barker. He leads lap number 1 on the high side, but for how long? Here comes that 31. Doesn't go up and slam the door shut just yet. Going to stay on the bottom. Brandon Templeton hooks the grass here, tightens up. Jeff Barker to the high side. Blake Chapman follows on by. The Preacher on up the B2. Now he's trying to preach his way on up into the lead here. We got some contact in the back. No caution flag yet. Pat Boyce going to finally roll. So we're not going to get one. Race going to stay green. Blake Chapman up front in the lead. Brandon Templeton makes a move here for 2nd. Now Jack Hitt trying to follow him on by the Brewerton Beast. Can he get on that final step of the podium? The answer is no. Jeff Barker holds on for now. Brandon Templeton going, searching for the lead here. Blake Chapman slammed the door shut on entry, but B-Temp going to drive down in there one more time. Blake going to stay upstairs through 3 and 4. He's got it at the line. 20 laps to go. Terry Landis a little off the pace here. He's going to need a caution if he wants to run these guys down. You can see Steve Bixler. Big gap between him and Randy Shreves as well. Randy trying to reel in the Gentleman Jack Hitt. If they keep battling here for 3rd, he might end up doing just that. As he takes a peek to the inside, Jeff Barker, big run on the top shelf. He holds on for now, coming to 18 laps to go. Blake Chapman leads the way. Brandon Templeton. Oh, that was Jeff Barker climbing the wall. He goes over the hill in 1 and 2, flipping on his lid. No caution flag. He's going to have to tow. Race continues. battle on for the lead, though. One more time, Brandon Templeton to the bottom. Through 3 and 4, just can't find the run coming off the corner. And Blake Chapman, man, he's got the medicine. Gotta run that high side, get that good exit. Full head of steam off of 4. That's where the speed's at. Blake's been able to hold off Brandon Templeton. But for how long? We're not even halfway. 16 laps to go. And Randy Shreves inching closer here to the 217 of the gentleman Jack hit. What can he do as we go on the nose of Randy Shreves? He's got a pretty good battle, or a sight for the battle of the lead there, too. He's the first guy to kind of venture up high through 1 and 2, so you can see he starts the game now on Jack. It's when he has all that extra speed going into the corner from rallying off the high side. But the first part of the straightaway, you know, I mean, it's still about that distance. You can see now he gets him a little bit. Now he really starts to get him because he's willing to drive it in a little deeper, being up top. But Jack kind of extending it through the center of the corner as he's rotating the shorter way around. But right now, they're all kind of spread out here. Blake Chapman doing enough. Well, hold on for the moment. I think if this thing stays green, I mean, we've got 11 laps to go. So that's enough time for B-Temp to maybe come up here and make a run. Oh, boy, he's going to have to be perfect. Oh, I know we got a car coming off of pit road. Saw it happen. Saw it coming. Brandon Templeton involved, and I believe that was the 7 of Bob DeGood. Definitely not what you want to see there. And oh, I mean, I could kind of see it coming. So I'm not sure. He must not have went down pit road. So no, he just went over up the top. Just didn't get a caution. Came up that way so that way he could get the entry. Just wasn't sure maybe guys were coming. And B-Temp, he's already committed at that point in time. There's nothing he could do. Yeah, that's a tough break there for the 31 of Brandon Templeton. Not what you want to see, but if you're Brandon, you know, not a lot of cars on the lead lap. Not a lot of cars in the race period, so you can get yourself back up into the top 5, I think, with fairly minimal effort. Brandon Templeton's really good at these things, you know. I mean, he wants to be battling for the lead. There's no doubt about it. Sometimes that's just the way it goes. And B-Temp, yeah, he'll restart this thing in 6. So, yeah, top 5's laughable. I kind of be shocked if we don't see him back up on the podium before this thing's all said and done. But he's going to have to be perfect. Can't make any mistakes. He'll have used that quick repair right there. So pressure's on now for Brandon Templeton. And also Randy Shreve's going to be feeling some pressure. He's got this thing on the podium for the first time. And Randy Shreves got the caution. Terry Landis got the caution he needed to kind of tighten himself back up with the rest of the field. And Terry Landis, man, he knows how to run these midget sprint cars. Don't let him fool you. He could sneak up here and steal this win. As the green flag's high, it's ready to fly. 9 laps to play. We're back underway at the Warnerville Speedway. Good jump there for the 20 of the Preacher. Blake Chapman, a little contact there for 3rd. Terry Landis got into the back of Randy Shreves. No harm, no foul. But it allowed B-Temp to maybe snip at the bottom. Little contact there with Terry Landis. No caution flag. B-Temp gets up off the racing surface, trying to come back on. He does, but for some reason, no caution flag. And you can see he's already almost a lap down. And man, Terry Landis finds himself way back once again, needing another caution. I just don't know how lucky he's going to get tonight. And Randy, he's loving it. He's got a big cushion now to the 75 and the mayor, Steve Bixler. And underneath Steve Bixler, that's the 513 of Jeff Barker. He's a lap down. He's a couple laps down, actually. So he won't be a factor here in tonight's winner outcome, but Jack Hitt might. He's to the outside. Closest we've seen anyone to the salesman here. Slide job for the lead through 3. Catches the cushion off of 4. Brandon Templeton gets out of the way. Not what he wants to do there, but man, doing the right thing. And you got to feel for Brandon Templeton. Tough way to end the night here at the Lernerville Speedway as we're coming to 3 laps to go. Blake Chapman, man, he's riding up top. He's singing to him. He's got it rolling. 2.5 more trips around the sun as we roll through 3 and 4. 2 sticks in the air. Jack Hitt, man, he is close. These guys battling have allowed Randy Shreves to get close as well. You know what happened in the 305s when they let him sneak into the picture? He stole it with the white flag in the air. Can he get another one? I don't know. Blake Chapman gotta hold on here. He doesn't. He's gotta be perfect. He can't just be smooth because Jack Hitt slides out for the lead. Battle back through 3. Final time through 4. Slide job. Jack Hitt cuts underneath, but give it to the preacher. Blake Chapman wins in the midget sprint cars here at the Lernerville Speedway. Jack Hitt P2, Randy Shreves 3rd, Steve Bixler 4th, and the Desert Demon rounding out the top 5. Good finish there to your Flatline Racing Bodies midget sprint cars. Blake Chapman holds on. Wasn't sure if he was going to have enough. It looked like Jack was going to get it. But Blake did it. He held on. And, man, another good race here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. As we'll see if we can maybe find the driver of the 56 here, Randy Shreves. See if we can get a word or two with him. And, man, he's no stranger. You got up here quick, Randy. That's response time. You're not an EMT, are you? Oh yeah, see, he may not have been ready even for me to pull him up, so he was here, but let's see. Randy, you got a copy? Let's see here. We got him up here, but I don't hear him talking. Hey, Randy, Shaggy, man, you got a copy? And I don't see him lighting up here, so we'll see here what's going on. We'll give him a couple more seconds, see if can't figure this thing out.
I think I got it figured out now, Zach.
There we go. Yep, I got you, Randy. What's going on, man? How we doing?
Oh, good. Definitely weird getting back into a midget. It's been a while. Yeah, them things are tricky, man. I forgot how sensitive they are.
Yeah, but it seemed like, I mean, obviously it takes some laps to get back into it, but come towards the end of the race, man, you're running right with those front guys. I mean, how much were you hoping we maybe had another 305 race? I mean, if they make any contact whatsoever, you're right there to steal it.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for that, and I screwed up on that restart there and went to the bottom. I should have just stayed up top, and that's where I lost the most ground. I think we could have been up there battling with them at least anyway. They're both real good at driving these things, so.
No, it seemed like tonight, Randy, I mean, people making passes really all over the racetrack. Obviously, you kind of normally have that one dominant line, but man, I just didn't really see it tonight. It seemed like you guys could pretty much go wherever you're comfortable. Did you feel that out there?
Yeah, I definitely felt like, you can drive it anywhere. I mean, just try to avoid a few spots, but yeah, you could pretty much take that thing anywhere, and it was pretty quick.
Well, man, you look good tonight. Another podium here for that 56. And let's be honest, man, this was the one you probably weren't expecting. So that's a hell of a run. Congratulations, Randy. Who you want to thank?
I appreciate it, Zach. Definitely want to thank you, man, for the broadcast and, Coast to Coast for putting this thing on, and KSB Builders, Dylan Shrews Designs, and everybody for watching.
Well, hey, hell of a run, Randy. Have fun next week, man. I didn't tell anybody yet, but Dino's coming to Pennsylvania, so I am finally getting off my butt. I'm going to watch his series race Tuesday and Wednesday. I got to go meet Dino. So Adam
That's
will be
awesome.
here doing the broadcast next week, so we do have somebody doing it, but I'm going to be gone. So have some fun next week, Randy. Go win one.
Right, I will try, man.
Randy Shreves bringing home P3 here in the midget sprint cars, and now we're going to bring up the man who, excuse me there, Jack. Oh, so close, dude. I mean, you were right there towards the end, but just came up short. What else did you need to get by Blake?
Well, some more laps or that slider I threw on the last lap into 1 and 2. I didn't really like fully commit, didn't get up to the high side as quick as I needed to, and just kind of floated it out in the middle for a little bit. But kudos to him for doing what he had to do and getting the win.
Yeah, man, were you surprised? And I kind of asked Randy, I mean, I'm not the best at these things, but obviously, man, it seems like you go to most racetracks in any race car, you kind of have a preferred line. But man, tonight everybody was kind of doing their own thing. And I mean, you were trading off fast laps, whether it was the bottom or the top, middle. Did it feel like you could drive that car anywhere tonight? Because, man, it sure looked like it.
I'll keep saying it, man. The midgets are, to me, one of the best cars on here, just because you can get a lot of multiple lines at multiple different tracks here, and I just think it leads for some really good racing.
Dude, it does. And I mean, when you're able to just, nurse that throttle, keep it straight, keep the wheels under you, you can put on some good side by side racing. And you and Blake did that there coming down to the end. So, congratulations on a good finish, man. That was a way to cap the night. I know it's not the one you want, but those P2s, man, they add up. So, congratulations. Good run, Jack. Who you want to thank?
Got to thank you for putting on the broadcast. Flat9 Racing Bots for being our sponsor for Hometown Heroes and the Midgets, of course. Got to thank everybody coming out, and got to thank my wife for giving me time to do it.
Hey, great run, Jack. Look forward to interviewing you again, man. I got a feeling another one's coming soon. Good job.
Thanks, Zach. See you.
Jack hit bringing home P2, and now we're bringing up the preacher. It slipped my mind there for a little bit, Blake. I've been calling you the popcorn salesman for so long that, man, sometimes, I just need a little bit of medicine. It sparked my memory, took some of that, and came back to me. And, man, you steal another checkered flag. But it didn't come easy, man. It seemed like there for the middle stint of the race, it had kind of equaled out. You had found your pace. I mean, you were holding about half a second gap over Jack. But, man, towards the end, the final restart, Jack, breathing down your neck. I mean, how'd you hold on to that thing?
Yeah, I just listened to Terry. Terry just told me to keep running my line, keep running my race, and I'll be good. So, yeah, that top in 3 and 4, I was running that all race. I usually don't like to run upstairs in these things, but it felt good tonight, and it was a fast line, so I stayed up there. And then I think in 1 and 2, I was running it pretty good on the bottom until that caution came out, and then I feel like top was a little bit quicker around in 1 and 2. So, yeah, just had to make that slight adjustment, and Jack was definitely fast, definitely gave me a run for my money. But, overall, I think it was a pretty good race, and super happy we were able to hold on for the win.
Now, obviously, the same racetrack, but two different racetracks. But the way you just described that to me, Blake, it seems like the line you're running there, that was kind of the fast line in the 360s as well. Did running that for you in that last race maybe help, at all? Or is the car just so much different that it doesn't feel the same whatsoever?
Yeah, I think these cars are so much different than a sprint car is. It's tough. It just really doesn't help me much getting laps in a sprint car for a midget. But these things are fun. They're definitely a challenge, and I know not a lot of guys love these cars, but I think they're fun. I know Terry thinks they're fun, and a lot of other guys think they're fun too. So, yeah, if you can get the hang of these things, they can definitely be pretty fun. But like I said, they can be a handful at times too, and sometimes you just got to make little adjustments to the car to make it feel better.
Yeah, dang these guys, man. Because, obviously, you don't get a trophy for third. But one of the years, man, I ran these for points and got third. They are a lot of fun. Okay, now obviously you gotta tone down on the throttle, man. But you and Jack there, side by side, without the wing, dude. How much more fun is it than being in the sprint car? Because not that you're not hands up on the wheel with the 360. You are. But, man, this thing, you really got to, you got to be up on it, man. You got to be ready for it. So when you're running side by side, man, you got all those senses going. How much fun is that, you and Jack battling?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely more stressful. I feel like in these little cars, every little move, if you're not perfect, it can really cost you a lot of time. So that aspect of it really makes it fun. If you don't get into the corner quite as well as you want to, the guy behind you is probably going to close in a lot or get out of the corner very well. The slider's probably coming at you next corner. So that aspect of the midget racing is really enjoyable, but also, like I said, a lot more stressful if you make one or two mistakes. I would have made one or two more mistakes there at the end of the race. I definitely would have gave it away. So, like I said, more stressful, but also a lot more rewarding when you're able to hold on.
Yeah, most definitely. And, man, tonight you were rewarded. Another checkered flag. You end the night on the top step of the podium. Congratulations, Blake. Big win, man. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank the parents for watching. I got to thank all the guys down at KSR, especially Terry for running with me every week. Got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps and Andy and AJ Custom Creations. Got to thank Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring this division. Got to thank Jack for the admin. I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. They have some very delicious popcorn. You can head over to their website and check it out for yourself. And do not forget to use code CART, that's C-A-R-T, at checkout for 15% off some of their very delicious popcorn. I got to thank Maurer Farm Management. Got to thank Steve's Custom Golf Clubs. I got to thank everyone that puts this league on. And I got to thank my cousin Shaggy at Shaggy TV for the broadcast.
Well, hey, man, great run. And I'm going to enjoy calling these with you in here as long as we can before you get your butt out and go to school. But you enjoy that part of your life, man. And I'm going to enjoy you taking home these checkered flags. Good run tonight.
Thanks, Shaggy.
Blake Chapman bringing home the W here at the Lernerville Speedway to wrap up Flatline Racing Body's hometown heroes. And, man, him and Jack Hitt, they really put on a good one here. Side by side coming to the end. But Blake, just enough, got it done, brings it home. So huge shout out to everyone who tuned in here tonight. We all appreciated it at the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Huge shout out to all the admins, the guys behind the scenes, Jack Hitt, Jeff Barker, Bill Calder, man, everybody who keeps this machine well oiled. We appreciate it. Couldn't put on these great races without you. So on behalf of all of them, everyone out there watching, you have a good night, and you make sure you hit that like button, you hit that subscribe button, and you tune in tomorrow night for Thursday Night Thunder here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Have a good one.